So good morning. So this is a picture of a whale shark's fin. When I see this image, I feel grief that such a beautiful creature met such a cruel and unusual fate. I'm angry that the perpetrators of this violence continue to do things like this every day. I'm frustrated that it is seemingly impossible to wake the planet and stop the continuous destruction. But most of all, I'm fearful that it might be too late to save the oceans from their inevitable fate. Dr. Sylvia Earle once said that our ocean is our life support system, that without the ocean, there is no life, no blue, no green. The ocean is tied into each and every facet of our lives, and if we harm the ocean, then we harm ourselves in the process. Poachers and polluters are no saints, but while they continue to destroy the oceans and habitats around the globe, we must also remember that they are, at their fundamental level, also human. A piece of the blindness that drives this immense destruction exists within each and every one of us. And just as we overlook the one-way plastic bottle that happens to have been left at the beach, people fighting for their survival overlook the stripping of the shells off of turtles' backs. We're not perfect by any means, but if a feeling of empathy for all living creatures can be instilled in all of us, then together we can begin to reverse the damage that has been done to our life support system. 10 years ago, when I had just started my sailing career, I believed that the ocean that I sailed on was an endless and invincible entity. The endless supply of fish in the supermarket, the plastic floating by my boat, and the carbon dioxide my car emitted couldn't have possibly had any effect on it. It's huge. Then in 2009, my eyes were opened to the crew of the Plastic-y, a 60-foot boat made entirely out of recyclable plastic, sailed through the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. As a young awareness group, they'd done something completely new. They were able to bring the problems in the ocean to the people through what we use most, our social media. As a young Californian sailor whose life revolves around the Pacific Ocean, their pictures changed my world, and suddenly, gone were my days of blissful ignorance. Starting from that moment, I decided that I wanted to do my part and help out. And after a bit of research for every single one of my early school projects, I quickly realized that the people who were leading the ocean conservation efforts weren't raising awareness among the right group of people, my people. And I decided to do something about that. As it turns out, our problems in the ocean really boil down to three things. We're taking too much out, we're putting too much in, and we're heating it up. Starting around 200 years ago with the whales, people started causing near mass extinction in marine populations. We then transitioned in the early 1900s to bringing the cod, herring, and sardine populations to their knees. Since then, we've fished around 90% of the world's large animal population. We're taking out more than what the ocean can possibly produce, and we aren't even using most of what we catch. Through commercial fishing methods, such as trawling and other things, fishing boats are catching way more than what they bargained for. On average, 20% of a catch is bycatch, or rather unintentionally caught marine life. In places where unregulated fisheries reign supreme, bycatch is bringing local marine populations to the brink of extinction. Take the vaquita, for example, a species of porpoise for which there are only 12 left in the world because of illegal dark fishing off the coast of Mexico. But unfortunately, overfishing isn't the only way we are killing off marine life. Many of us still think that the ocean is a very large trash can, and the animals that can't tell the difference between a plastic bag and a jellyfish suffer the most from this. Plastic can find its way to the ocean from anywhere in the world. Even from the most inland places, plastic has a way of taking permanent beach vacations. Once plastic finds its way into the ocean, it tends to collect in one of the world's 5 large gyres, which are large systems of spiraling currents. Then, as the plastic degrades into fragments, it falls into deeper water, where currents carry it to the remote parts of the globe. After decades of mass plastic pollution, enough plastic has found its way to the ocean to create an 8th continent that is 2 times the size of Texas and up to 9 feet deep in the heart of the Pacific. And as of this moment, it is estimated that around 5.25 trillion pieces of plastic are scattered throughout the globe. The problem with plastic pollution, in addition to looking gross, is that fish and other animals that rely on the ocean to survive can't tell the difference between plastics and food. The plastic bag blowing around the streets is easily mistaken for a jellyfish by sea turtles, and the broken down pieces of brightly colored plastic look delicious to birds and smaller fish at a distance. This makes many of them very sick to the point that groups of their populations are dying off at an alarming rate. Many of our coral reefs are only colorful in spots because of the plastic particles that litter the ocean floor, but our reefs are still mostly white because of another reason. We're heating the planet. It's an undeniable fact that the Earth is heating up at an unprecedented rate. But what we don't realize is that the ocean has absorbed around 93% of all heat that has been caused by greenhouse gas emissions. If it weren't for the ocean absorbing the heat and excess carbon, our planet would be around 60 degrees hotter than it is today. So while we thank our best friend the ocean for doing this for us, it doesn't forget what we've done to it. While there is essentially no limit to what the ocean can absorb, it has a very long memory. And what heat and carbon is absorbed now will still be around for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Even if we were to stop polluting tomorrow, the ocean would continue to heat up. And while warmer water may be nice to swim in for us, it stresses corals. And just like when people stress out and grow gray hairs, corals turn white with bleaching, which is the process by which coral polyps lose their colorful algae shells and die off. So far, we've lost around 50% of the world's coral reefs to bleaching. Warmer water is also leading to an increased frequency of major hurricanes and sea level rise, the accelerating rate at which polar ice is melting. Sadly, like my study habits, we love to procrastinate when it comes to changing our habits. And the favorite excuse is the idea of a point of no return. For that point's actual location is a complete mystery, making it more of a landmine than a typical deadline. Right now, our foot is hovering right above that landmine, and our generation is the last one with the chance to change the ocean's current fate of pollution and extinction. Thankfully, ocean conservation efforts have come a long way since I met the plasticky. Thanks to advocates like me in their local communities and on social media, ocean conservation is a common topic in many households. But as much as we love to talk about the problem, we want people to also do something about it. In my years here, I've organized a few beach cleanups out of my local surf shop and developed a new type of aircraft wing that enables commercial flights to be completely electric. But in terms of saving the ocean, while all of that is really nice, really inspiring people to pick up a bottle cap off of the beach every time you go does a whole world of difference. So I ask you to join me in not procrastinating our ocean's fate. We're not only Generation Z, we're also Generation Blue. Thank you.